We back, baby.
Let's go.
Welcome in, everybody, and thank you for joining us for the PHNX Suns post-game show brought to you by the DraftKings Sportsbook app, America's #1 sportsbook app. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, and leave us a 5-star review. I'm Lindsay Smith here with Saul Bookman, Espo. Gerald Bourget will be joining us in just a few minutes. And we are celebrating back-to-back wins tonight. The Phoenix Suns defeat the Indiana Pacers 112-107. And boy, does it feel good to be back on this side of things, y'all.
If only the Indiana Pacers had DeAndre Ayton.
He wouldn't have played. He would have been sick. So.
Oh, no.
Look at that. And guess what? Suns are in 10th in the West, half a game back of, let me check that. The Minnesota Timberwolves for 6th in the West. They're right back in the picture. Guess what? It's all gloom and doom.
Yeah, I mean, not yet. Listen, I'm just like, I miss this so much. It was getting so bleak and so sad around these parts for a hot minute. I mean, we did have fun still, don't get me wrong, but like, this is far more enjoyable. And what's most impressive to me is the way in which this team did it tonight. I mean, we had a guy out there on a 10-day. We had two-way guys out there. Majority of this game able to get the win tonight. Like, that's impressive. No, regardless of who Indiana is missing, it's still solid work from them.
Absolutely solid work, but we are bearing the lead because a legend was made tonight.
Masked Okogie.
Oh, yeah.
That's right. Josh Okogie came in clutch. I think he has to wear a mask from here on out.
I think so, too.
The masked slinger. He's scoring points left and right.
He stays slinging.
I really think it's one of those things, like, I don't know if the broken nose made it to where he can breathe better, so he had more energy from all the oxygen he's getting, or the mask just turned him into a completely different person.
He was already savage.
Oh, yeah. But he shot well tonight, so maybe it fixed some vision thing that was going on with him. I don't know.
Hey, listen, he was awesome tonight. He was awesome on both ends of the floor. He made the Pacer guards work very, very hard. Even when they thought they had easy layups, he was right there to rip the ball out of their hands, and he was just phenomenal. And you know, the beautiful thing about Okogie right now is that you're starting to see how he can fit himself into the lineup even when everybody comes back, and how he could be one of those. Listen, we talk about these guys. Every playoff series, there's like that one guy that ends up doing all those small little things to really make such a big difference. You know, back in the Bucks series when we lost in the finals, it seemed like it was the big guy's name?
Frank Kaminsky?
No, the big guy for the Bucks.
Oh, Porter.
Portis.
Bobby
Portis seemed like he would get those buckets, get those scrap plays, and and Okogie looks like he could be that guy for us. And man, if he plays like this, that just changes the whole dynamic for the Suns.
What was the biggest problem we talked about this year in terms of it couldn't get to the line?
To the line.
Yes. Okogie went 15 times tonight. I mean, there were games they only shot 15 free throws as a team.
Yeah.
His aggressiveness hopefully becomes contagious because he wasn't afraid of contact. He didn't shy away from it. He drove to the hoop. He got to the line. I loved it.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that even if Josh Okogie isn't knocking down shots in the way that he did tonight, if he can get to the line consistently like this, it's still incredibly valuable. One, because we don't have many guys who drive in the way that he does. Yeah. And two, we don't have many guys who get to the free throw line in the way that he does. He was 11 of 15 from the charity stripe tonight. He did work. He put his head down, and he was not afraid of getting hit in the face. He wasn't afraid. Nothing was holding him back.
But nothing ever does with him. It's
yeah,
crazy.
But I mean, wouldn't you be a little bit hesitant at times if your nose was broken?
I don't know. What's the worst thing that happens? I would be a little bit hesitant. It gets rebroken? I mean...
Yeah, that would hurt.
Yeah, that would still hurt.
That would hurt a lot.
I've had my nose broken like 3 times playing rec basketball.
Did you cry?
No.
I would have cried.
I bled. I jammed stuff in it to stop it bleeding. I went back and played.
Did you re-injure it while it was already injured?
Not that I'm aware of, but look how big my nose is. I wouldn't have known the difference.
No, you don't get the big nose championship here. I do. This is the bigger
I don't know.
schnoz.
Do we want to go side by side?
Bro, I win. I promise you I do.
I like mine.
No, I know.
I got lucky with mine.
You're not in this contest, Lindsay.
I'm just saying, I got lucky with mine. Brittany in the chat said, give him the Dan Marley Hustle Award. 100%.
For sure.
I don't know that there's anybody else on this team who deserves the Hustle Award this season in the way that Josh Okogie does.
No.
Because that was one thing that even the team was talking about prior to tonight's game. Getting back Josh Okogie's energy and hustle is huge for this group, specifically with all the injuries that we're still dealing with. Having a guy who can come out there and bring that much oomph to your team automatically boosts the energy for everybody else.
1,000,000%. Again, like those types of players should be infectious. The next step in the evolution of Josh Okogie is that next time he runs down the court and somebody else is lollygagging back on the other end, get in their ass. Get in their ass and be like, hey, why are you walking? Why aren't you back here on defense helping me out? I'm giving my all to the team. That's what he does every single night. I love it. More Josh Okogie for sure.
The mass slinger, baby. Keep bringing it.
I really like this comment from Eldon in the chat. They said, before the game started, my dad saw that DA and Cam were both out tonight and said, well, we're going to lose. And I said, wait, but Josh Okogie's back. And he said, who? I feel so vindicated now. Good job, Eldon. There you go. I hope now your dad knows full well who Josh Okogie is.
Put some respect on his name.
Starts quizzing your dad on the Suns roster. I mean, come on.
Yeah, for real.
Should we go ahead and just give the honor now?
Yeah,
I feel like we have to. It was such a solid game from Josh Okogie. He is without a doubt our draft king of the game. Josh Okogie tonight, he finished with 24 points. He had 10 rebounds. He was 6 of 11 from the field, 11 of 15 from the charity stripe. In addition to all of that, he had 4 assists, he had a steal, and he had 4 blocks. 4 blocks, you guys.
That's like 2 whole weeks for DeAndre Ayton and blocks.
He had more blocks than Bismack Biyombo, which is saying a lot.
Yeah, I mean, Bismack Biyombo had fewer blocks than Okogie. That's impressive.
Right? So congratulations, Josh Okogie. Well-deserved. Fantastic game. We are so proud and happy for you tonight.
And beautiful crown placement. It's tough to get a crown on there when there's a mask as well. So shout out on that, Emma.
Hey-Dot in the chat said he was blocking shots and protecting the paint as a big man. This is facts. So now that we're on the topic of DraftKings, I'm not very excited about today's leaderboard
why not,
situation.
Lindsay? Why not?
Because I lost my bet. Listen, all I will say is my gut was wrong about the bet on DraftKings, but it was right about being positive about tonight's game. So at least I've got that. I did not hit my bet.
Not only did I win this bet, okay, but I was feeling so good that I made a side bet on the DraftKings Sportsbook app of 107.5 for the Pacers and 112.5 for the Suns. And damn it, if it wasn't 107 to 112, I won that bet as well. So I put a little cash in my pocket. Guess what, folks? Daddy's home.
Yeah, Daddy's still behind. Daddy's still behind the two of us.
Daddy's home.
Oh, Daddy finally won a bet.
Daddy's home.
So Saul is officially in the green. He is at 29.50
Let's
now.
go.
I did not win my bet, so I am now down to 95.62. Espo also thankfully didn't win his bet because I didn't realize the odds you had on it. You're at a 47 now.
Can we be honest? I made a pretty good call. And Bismack screwed Mikal 3 different times on assists. And he was 1 rebound away for 6 minutes.
He was.
6 freaking minutes.
Oh, man. You should have heard Espo. Like,
Espo was ready to go to overtime, y'all.
Yo, oh my
I
God.
gave Mikal the 11 multiple times.
For this bet. Unfortunately, all you needed was 1 additional assist and 1 additional rebound, and you didn't get it. And that's a positive for me and Saul.
So close.
So I will take that as a win.
Mark my words. I'm taking the lead tomorrow night.
Okay.
I am taking the lead tomorrow night.
I will tell you though, we've told you guys this a million times, but I'm only saying it again because it's so genuinely true. Having some stake in these games makes it that much more enjoyable. I have never seen Espo yell like that, except for like when it's a buzzer beater type of a situation. But in this game, I was kind of surprised how wild you were at the last, 3 minutes of this game.
I sounded like the goddamn ASU guys.
You did.
I was yelling at the TV like crazy. angry too, just like the ASU guys.
To be frank, like when we were about, the Suns looked like they were about to pull away pretty comfortably, and Lindsay asked, well, we should be. She turned to Espo and said we should be rooting for Saul to lose too. Like we should all be losing, right? And I said that Lindsay, I'm not the one you have to worry about, because if Espo hits, he wins like $80. And then it changes the whole game.
Yeah.
And so we then turned to rooting against Espo, and it was just so much fun.
I said I didn't care if you won. I wasn't going to root against you because I'm not worried about you. So
wow, whatever, Espo. Anyway, if you want to get in on the action on the DraftKings Sportsbook app, we got 2 little promos for you guys right now. Currently, all new and existing customers can take a shot at even bigger payout with DraftKings stepped up same game parlays. Boost your NFL winnings up to each leg. With each leg, you add up to 100%. Also, if you have not downloaded the DraftKings Sportsbook app, new customers who sign up with the code PHNX can bet $5 on the NFL divisional round and get $200 in free bets instantly, only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Again, with that code PHNX. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details. I feel like this is the game where you guys should have a beer right now from Four Peaks.
I would love a beer from Four Peaks.
It's Saturday. 2, we got back-to-backs this weekend. And 3, back-to-back wins. We should be celebrating they got a little wow over right there, now.
They got a little wow on the right side, right there. Yes.
Ooh,
I'll
there's
take
some
peach.
peach. Are we drinking some peach ale? Is that what we got here?
Hey,
I'm feeling
this
peachy.
is why Emma's the best producer in the world.
The goat.
Hand delivering Four
peach ale,
beer.
4 Peaks.
Just a reminder to everyone listening right now, our last Wednesdays are back. You can come hang out with all of us at PHNX at the 8th Street Pub in Tempe on January 25th. All of our shows are going to be live and in person at Four Peaks throughout the day. And you can enjoy some $3 beer specials. So come say hi to us. Also, don't forget, there's 2 new beers right now. The Recreational Juice Dank IPA and the Staycation Super Juicy IPA. So come check it out.
Yeah, that's tasty.
Can't any of their IPAs be dank if you partake in a little Mary J before you have it?
Well, yeah. Anything can be dank if you do that.
Cool.
We could be dank on the show right now if you wanted to.
Does it count? Does it have to be flour, or can OGs count?
OGs can definitely count.
OGs counts?
Oh, yeah.
Well, then there you go.
Just wait till OGs creates a drop.
They're like,
we're in trouble.
Those 2 partners should partner.
Just drop it in there.
The best droppables ever.
They really should partner up, though, to be completely honest with you. And speaking of OGs, since we're already on the topic, it's official, you guys. Strawberries and Cream is hitting the shelves soon.
Ooh, yeah.
And you're going to love these. Quite a delightful brand new flavor from our friends over at OGs. They are the best that you can get in the edible game, and you can find them at ogsbrands.com or at your local dispensary. But just a reminder, you do have to be 21 years or older to enjoy.
It is the Happy Balance, and the Happy Balance Strawberries and Cream, I'm telling you folks, is just the best. It doesn't take you too high. It doesn't take you too low.
Like Monty.
It's just a nice, smooth cruise to La La Land.
I've never been balanced, so I'm excited.
So that's for you.
There you go.
Never too high, never too low.
Nope.
The old cliche.
The Monty Williams of edibles.
No. I don't want to be the Monty Williams of edibles.
I'm just gonna go the cliche of the NBA.
Like the
but
Greg
this
Popovich.
time it's actually legit.
More like the Greg Popovich, or it's the Devin Booker of edibles. He's consistent as hell,
smooth,
and he gives you a high performance all the time.
James hit us with a super chat, but no comment. So James, drop your comment and I'll get to your super chat.
James Johnson.
You don't have to re-super chat. Just drop your comment. I'll find it.
Okay, so this may sound like I'm on OGs when I say this because of my stance lately.
The Suns are better without Devin Booker?
No, that's not the stance.
I'm just making sure.
I want to give James Jones a little bit of credit. I've been very tough on James Jones. I still think he has to do a lot in the next few weeks. But when you look at the guys he added to what was supposed to be the Suns bench this season, in particular tonight, but overall, Okogie, 24 points, 10 rebounds. Jock Landale, 10 points, 10 rebounds. Saban Lee, 12 points, 4 assists, 4 rebounds. Damian Lee, 16 points tonight. Bismack Biyombo, 12 points, 16 rebounds. These guys that he kind of added on the fringes have performed very well.
Yeah.
He needs to get the big fish now, but the things he added to try to bolster the bench, the guys he's added this year have performed very well. Most of my issues with him have been you need to get that guy now, but he did a real good job in bargain hunting.
I'm a little concerned about Dwayne Washington right now because the way Saban Lee has been playing, it really, really feels like Dwayne Washington, if he doesn't pick up his shooting performances, could find himself on the outside looking in soon. And I hope not, because I really like the guy. I really think he can shoot as good as anybody on the team. It's just he has not been able to really string some good games together of late, and it's and Saban has.
The hard part with D-Wash is that it's not consistent enough just yet. And I feel like sometimes he is looking for his more than making the right play. Sometimes, not always. I'm not saying this is a consistent thing, but when it's glaring, that's the tough part.
I would agree, but I also would say that Saban is doing it on both ends of the court. And that's the biggest difference because Dwayne Washington doesn't really make much of an impact defensively like Saban does. Saban does. He's like a mini Okogie, if you will, and he will be a disruptor. He will get his hands in the passing lanes. So yeah, I mean, hopefully that's not the case. They can hold on to him, but you know, it's a business and they got to make the best decision.
Who do you think had the higher plus minus between
it was D-Wash.
Which makes no sense.
It was
again,
D-Wash.
To me, this shows again why this stat is so
the plus minus
bizarre.
He
was plus 15. Saban Lee was plus 6.
Minus is good if you're trying to add on to a good performance. Like, oh, guy had a triple-double and this. But if you just use it as the singular denomination as to why somebody was awesome or horrible in a given night, it's irrelevant.
Bismack, 12.16 rebounds, minus 11 on the plus minus.
I will say, though, I did enjoy the minutes that we got of Saban Lee and D-Wash together tonight. I will take more of that because D-Wash in more of his natural role.
Yes. I think that is where we may see him flourish in a game upcoming is when he gets to play that shooting guard and just worry about scoring and not have to worry about running the offense and distributing there. So.
And there was a moment late in this game where D-Wash did make a mistake and Book and Monty pulled him aside and we're talking to him and Monty kind of gave him a, okay, you're good, and left him in the game, which is a positive sign too. Yeah. That Monty is maybe leaning into D-Wash a little bit more as far as his development, letting him play through some of those mistakes. It is something to be concerned a little bit about just because Saban Lee has come in and he's performed really well. He's now, this is the first day of his second 10-day contract. And of course, D-Wash is on a 2-way contract. So a lot of things to figure out there. But regardless, as somebody mentioned, Uriel in the chat said, when Ishbia gets a G League team, it'll be easier for D-Wash to develop. And hopefully that's the case. Ishbia comes in, we get a G League team back. D-Wash can work there a little bit more because we also had somebody be like, say that, I think it was I'm That Dude, in the comments said, D-Wash is young. Give him time. He's for the future. D-Wash is 22. Saban's 23, though. Just for...
Listen, like... I get that sentiment that he's young and he's for the future, but you know, again, like this is a championship level contending team, and there's going to be, well, I mean, depending on what James Jones does here and in the future, you know, whether they pull in draft picks or not, there's going to be other players, and so you got to make your opportunity when you get it, and if he doesn't do it, then they move on and they find other players that are going to be just like Dwayne Washington on other teams to try and pull in and see what they can do. So
best case scenario is any deal that happens with Jay Crowder is a bigger deal that includes some of these expirings and potentially a Shamet, and then you can keep a Dwayne Washington as a backup shooting guard. I feel more potential coming out of Dwayne Washington Jr. than I do at Landry Shamet at this point. But the difference is Shamet's making 11 a year, so it's much more difficult to move off of him than the two-way contract. So.
Absolutely. Okay, so the super chat from James. James, thank you for your super chat. Said, buying the Masked Man's jersey tonight. Monty play that man more. He's talking, of course, about Josh Okogie, who was our king of the game. Totally agree, James. Totally agree. I would love to see more Josh Okogie out there. Especially, like you said, Salt, when we do get fully healthy, I still want to see a little bit of Josh Okogie mixed into that group of players. All right, couple more players that we want to highlight tonight. Bismack Biyombo. We got to talk about Bismack Biyombo. Not only did he log a season high in points tonight with 12,
but he also passed up a crucial possible assist from Mikal Bridges, which screwed Espo. And that was my favorite part of the game.
11.
He also hit 1,000 career blocks this evening as well. So congratulations are in order for Bismack Biyombo. He's a blocking machine.
1,000 busy
that
blocks.
Guy, he's so
no
solid.
Josh Okogie, but he's pretty good.
Tonight, yes, Josh Okogie technically had more, but overall, we all know Bismack definitely leads that charge for sure. But I really enjoyed the way Bismack played tonight. He was also 6 of 12 from the field, played 30 minutes, and he came out with a lot of energy and intensity. Also, 16 rebounds. Really solid work tonight from Busy.
I'm not going to go there tonight. I'm just not going to. It's not a knock on Bismack. It's somebody else. I'm just going to. The man's sick. I'm going to leave him alone tonight.
Oh, I see.
Oh, from a DA?
Yeah.
What were you going to say?
Well, I mean, they get another win without him, and freaking Bismack and Jock combined for 26 rebounds. Not saying, I'm just saying, I guess, but
Busy played great. He was awesome tonight. Like, again, he makes an impact when he gets in there.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it's for 5-10 minutes, it doesn't matter. He makes an impact some way, somehow. And you know, like, again, the thing that you're always concerned about with Busy is, can he score? Can he take advantage of the positions that he keeps getting? And tonight he did that, and it was great to see. And again, this team you can get fooled by this team by thinking they don't have all their dudes and they're just going to be shit. But you can start to see them starting to get used to playing without some of these guys. And now they're finally getting and gelling, and it's just in time for everybody to come back. So, you know, whatever.
I will say, though, like, Espo, you're not the only one who has expressed some thoughts around that situation. However, I will say it's important to remember that while this team has figured it out for the most part, or is starting to figure it out with all these injuries, you have to remember that late in the game, it's been really difficult for this specific group to close. And that's one of the biggest things that I think the group of guys who are on the injury report have more experience in, are more clutch overall, have the energy and stamina to maybe outlast some of their opponents in those situations.
Look, I'm not saying that Bismack should start over DA. I'm not saying that Jock should be playing more of DA's minutes. It's just simply the hustle, the crashing the boards that we saw from those guys. I wish more of that was absorbed in DA, that he came out with that kind of attitude that those two guys did tonight and take care of it. They both had great effort on the glass tonight, and I love that. A guy that we've given a lot of crap to along with DA, though, is Mikal Bridges, and over the last 4 games, he's really stepped up in terms of his offensive play and what he's doing. 4 straight games with 20 or more points.
First time in his career he's done that.
He's been distributing the ball. He had 9 assists the other night. Should have had 5 tonight, only had 4. But he's doing that as well now that he's being asked to be a ball handler more as well. I've been impressed with how he's responded over the last 4 or 5 games on that front, when a lot of us had started to write him off, especially offensively. So
I would love to go back to this DA point, but I will say this right now. I know the record and all this other stuff without him. I currently have been doing a deep dive on DA for the last week, and I hope to put out a video next week to kind of break down the complexities of DeAndre Ayton. And that is part one part that I will dive into as well. But I will say this, like there have been some shocking things that I found, both good and bad, for DA. That again, I'll speak to that a little bit more next week when I can dive into those numbers, because I have a sneaky suspicion that, and this is just my hunch, that the Suns win these games, but they're not playing the top level of talent. You know what I'm saying? They're not playing the Bucks. They're not playing the Warriors. They're not playing, you know what I'm saying? So, but before I can speak to that, I want to research this first. So I'll just wait.
And I think it's a bit, honestly, I think it's a bit of a bogus stat. You know, it because some of these games are with Devin Booker going on. There's so many factors into it. I don't think that this team is necessarily better without DA. I just simply would like to see the hustle like we get out of Bismack and Jock tonight as well. So,
but Dagoon has it right. He says, "I hope Giannis and Wembanyama get along when they get here next year."
Let's go.
First of all, there's no possible chance that we would get Giannis, obviously, and there's no possible chance we're getting Wembanyama because nobody's tanking here. So,
I would just be curious. So, Easy in the chat said Mikal and DA both soft AF, and that's been kind of a jab that's been thrown out a lot this season towards those two guys. But I guess my question is like, if you look at every NBA player, what percentage of NBA players would you put into like that dog type of mentality category?
I would say less than 10%.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
you think less than 10?
Yeah.
I would say maybe like 25 if you want to go on like the more, if you want to be more.
I think you see
open
it more,
with it.
It's probably like 15, 20%. And a lot of times it's the PJ Tuckers of the world. These guys that have to fight and claw to keep their jobs. Josh Okogie, a guy like that. These guys that if they don't hustle, they don't keep a job. It's the
hustle guys, and it's the top of the top.
Yeah.
But like that middle ground is like, you're not going to have 14 guys on your team who all have that dog in them. Like, you're just not.
I love that point, Linz. I really do, because like, you look at the Warriors.
That's what separates them from everybody else.
If you look at the Warriors, Draymond's like about that life, right? He's the tough guy on that squad. But Steph Curry ain't that dude. Steph Curry's just elite, right? But he's not the one that's just a rugged dog and tough as balls and just is going to throw his body around. Like, he's not that dude.
No, but I think big men need it more, right?
But Mikal's not a big man.
Well, but I'm just saying, in particular with DA, when you think about big men, if they don't have that in them, they're less willing to body guys in the paint. They don't get rebounds as much as you think they would. Like, I feel like you expect a big man to have that dog in him more, because so much of a big man's game is predicated on physicality and getting to the foul line and all those things that happen for a big man. So I think it's more obvious when a guy doesn't have it in that situation.
Yes,
it's the same shit we went through with Amari Stoudemire. When he gets 6 rebounds in a game and you're like, you're freaking 6'11" and you're an athletic beast, you should have 10 boards. This was always the argument with him, because I think the big men, if you don't show that physicality on a night in, night out basis, it becomes very apparent.
Yeah.
But it's why a guy like PJ Tucker at 6'7" that's down there as a power forward and it's hustling his ass off, it stands out even that much more.
I mean, like, even like you look at guys like Barkley, you know, those are the types of dudes.
And those are all guys that you look at and you're like, those are at the top of the list. They're
elite, right? But, you know, like, and we're not saying that only big men can be tough. We're not saying that at all. But what Espo's point, it was fantastic in saying that, like, it does stand out more if you're a big and you're soft.
Yeah.
It just, because you could see it a million miles away. You know, not everybody's built like Shaq. Not everybody's going to be built like Karl Malone or whatever, like dudes that just got after it. DA stands out because sometimes, like I've been saying, he does look like he's tiptoeing through the tulips and he can't get it. And for whatever reason, I just don't understand it. But Mikal, I wouldn't say Mikal's necessarily in that same category, because Mikal, this year, maybe not so much as the past 4 years, but Mikal had been known to really be that guy on defense. And
he plays the most minutes of everybody on this team every single night.
DA has shown DA has shown that he has that ability.
Yeah.
Like when we got to the playoffs and last year against the Pelicans, the year before, basically the entire playoff run, really anchoring that defense. But then you get to the regular season and you just see it kind of come and it kind of goes. Hell, you've been putting bets on DA in terms of blocks forever, and he hasn't come through at all once. Like, there's a reason for that because he's soft. He is soft. I would say he's soft. And it just, again, when I was going back looking at different tape and breaking down numbers, I'm just stunned at how his performance has been as a Phoenix Sun compared to what he was doing in college, especially later on in his college career, and even a little bit at the beginning of his career, where you just saw these signs that seemed like they were just going to become more and more, and then they just kind of fizzle, and then they come back, and then they fizzle. And like I said, we'll get into it a little bit deeper later on. But
I feel like Mikal is a little shifty on the court. He's smart. He knows how to position himself. I don't know that he's that dog in terms of I'm going to slam into people. I'm going to he's not a Okogie, but he uses his basketball IQ, his intelligence to put himself in position in a lot of ways that I think that's his thing. I think Sean Marion was very good at that too, as getting himself in the right position.
So PHX Scotty, I think you are probably on to something far more than all of us combined as far as getting on the same page. You said the definition of soft seems to be different per person.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I think that is completely true.
Yes.
And that could probably be a reason why there's so much discourse around DA and Mikal, but I would say more so around Mikal than DA, because I think more of us are in agreement that, DA isn't that kind of guy. I don't know that I don't think Mikal doesn't have that dog in the sense that like Book and Kobe and those guys and Jordan and all that.
Yeah,
but I wouldn't go as far as to call Mikal soft my definition of soft, though.
You can't be one of the best defenders on your team and be asked to guard the best of the best and be soft. You can't. You just can't. I'm sorry. I don't care if he's having a bad year. And I've been hard on Mikal in terms of having to step up in Booker's absence and all these other guys. But I will not say that Mikal is soft, because he takes the brunt of the other team's best players on himself, and has to fight over millions of screens every single game because he's got to guard these dudes, and he never misses a game. And he's still out there. He gets dinged up. He goes out there and plays. He has a bad game. He tries to shake it off. Next game, he tries to come back. Like, I will never call Mikal soft. No. I will not put him in that category.
No, I think soft also is the definition of it is a very generational thing. Because you and I grew up watching late 80s and 90s basketball.
Yeah, 50% of those dudes were not soft.
Where, like, a fight happening was a normal thing on a nightly basis, on a weekly basis. You'd get 90 to 88 games, and that was normal. Like, so I think our definition of tough is different than somebody that grew up in the late 2000s and 2010s, where run and gun became more of the thing and spreading the floor. So I think soft is a generational distinction too.
I also feel like right now there is almost I'm not going to call it a generational war, but there is a passing of the torch or not wanting to pass the torch kind of happening in the NBA right now. Like, just as a whole, I think we've seen a lot of it this year with the kerfuffle that happened last night in Memphis, or with Memphis and Shannon Sharp. And like, the whole thing started because it was LeBron and Dylan Brooks kind of going at it, right? Then you see Clay and Book kind of going at it. I kind of feel like there's this, it's like a changing of hands, but the older guys aren't ready to let go yet because they're like, I'm not done. Do you know what I mean? And I feel like some of our fans are like, or some of the guys in the chat or the people in the chat are like, this whole generation is soft. Like, this whole generation of new players is soft. And I don't know that I would agree with that. I think it's just a completely different type of game almost.
So this is where I would say, I think the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s fucked it up for this generation, to be honest with you. Because had the fighting not escalated to the fucking stands,
you're literally not allowed to do that anymore, even if they wanted to.
The malice of the palace changed everything. So now, a guy will grab somebody by the jersey, he's tossed.
Shut it down immediately.
Shut it down, he's gone, right? So guys can't be as physical and as aggressive as they used to be back in the day. I'm telling you what, if the Mouse and the Palace never happened, we'd still see fights. I believe that wholeheartedly. Last night, Dylan Brooks would have got clocked. You think Pat Bev wouldn't have got hit in the mouth by now? You think Grayson Allen wouldn't have been chucked to the second deck? Like, absolutely that would have happened, because you had guys on teams that were basically like the hitmen that would just come out and they're like, all right, well, tonight hey guys, it's going to be early night for me because this dude's getting his.
I don't think it was just the Mouse and the Palace. I think Suns, Spurs, and the Amari Boris suspensions too, because now guys can't even remember back in the day, there'd be guys that the bench would step in even in these kind of things, and there, sometimes those enforcers would be guys that weren't even in the game.
Hell, the Knicks and the Suns, when they went and had that whole melee, fucking Greg Anthony came off. He was in street clothes fighting Kevin Johnson.
Yeah, he was hurt.
And he was hurt. Like, that just doesn't happen now, right? So, there is a generational difference, but I don't think it's strictly a generational problem. I'm telling you, if you go to the park and watch guys ball, it's just as aggressive as I remember it back when I was playing. Like, I've seen it. So it's not necessarily that. It's just the rules are different in the NBA now, and they're not letting you get away with just going crazy.
No, you can't, even if you wanted to play that way, you would lose all your dollars and then get suspended before the NBA let you get away with any of that.
Well, yeah, Eric brings up a good point. The flagrant one, anytime someone is hit in the face, is the thing that needs to go. I mean, Saban Lee's flagrant one tonight, that's not even a call 15 years ago, right? So that's another, you're right. It's officiated so differently as well. So
Code has a good thought as well. Guys had less skill back then too, so physicality was a skill in and of itself. As far as like, think about it when Eddie Johnson talks about like analytics and 3-point shooting and things of that nature. That wasn't really a huge part of those games.
I would never say that the guys had less skill, but I will say they had less athleticism.
Isn't that not a skill to you?
No, I think
having athleticism isn't a skill.
I think fundamentally and fundamentals overall were much better back in the 90s or 80s than they are now, because guys can get away with more because of their athleticism nowadays.
Yeah, that's true. But a guy like an Anthony Mason would have no spot in today's game, right? Because couldn't shoot, was there to be an enforcer to get rebounds. So I think there were more guys like that, that probably wouldn't have a spot in today's NBA.
This is true.
That had a very distinct role back then, that would come in and they'd be the guy that would knock you on your ass and they'd grab some boards.
The guys that they called the plumbers and the firefighters?
No, those were actual plumbers and firefighters.
I mean, I want to say yes, but also no, because look at Draymond Green.
But he
can't score for shit.
But he's a threat to get a triple-double because he rebounds, he passes, and he scores just enough.
Anthony Mason could rebound and pass too.
Anthony Mason wasn't a passer like
Dennis Rodman was basically a one-hit kind of dude. He played great defense and could rebound. Couldn't score for shit. Was not a go-to guy.
I don't think that Rodman would have had as much of a place in the league. I think he's a bench guy in today's league. You about to make
Saul's head explode.
Oh my God.
I think he's a bench guy in today's NBA. I don't think he's not. I don't think he's out of the league.
Dennis Rodman by himself would basically out-rebound the entire Suns right now as we stand.
Name me a guy that is just out there for rebounding in today's game.
Because nobody had that elite skill like him. He was 1 in a million, literally 1 in a million. Guy had 48 rebounds in one game. Nobody. Like, Wilt's the only other guy to ever do that.
I get that he was elite at that one thing. I just don't think that would have happened in today's NBA.
Some players' single skill is generational. It just is, in my opinion.
We can dive into this another time as well, but a couple things that I do want to give you guys some information on before Gerald joins us here in just a second is the Game Time app. The Suns are going to be in town a lot more over the next couple of weeks. And if you're looking to check out a game, the Game Time app is the best place to get your tickets for up to 60% off when you buy them last minute. It's also great for concerts and other events that you're looking to get tickets to as well. But the best way to support us is by buying your tickets through the link in the description of this show, whether you're watching on YouTube or whatever podcast platform you enjoy the best. Game Time, like I said, up to 60% off tickets when you buy them last minute. Also, our friends over at Illegal Pete's is one of our go-to spots for great burritos, hanging out with buddies, grabbing a beer. They have fantastic food with endless options of fresh ingredients that can fit almost any diet or dietary restriction. It's a no-brainer. Illegal Pete's is fantastic for everything that you could want, whether we're talking bowls, salads, tacos, queso, nachos, burritos. They have a full bar. So in addition to the beer that I mentioned, you can also get custom cocktails. And they have happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. So if you are in the mood for some delightful lunch or dinner tomorrow, highly recommend you check out our friends over at Illegal Pete's.
So Rodman had 49
oh my
rebounds
gosh, you would
over
too.
two games with no points.
But he had 34 rebounds in one game.
Yeah.
So
Which is insane.
Just as impressive.
Yeah.
But
should we ask Gerald what he thinks?
Yes, please.
It's time, everybody.
Beyond the lights, there shall only be one. Welcome to
Hi, Gerald. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you guys?
Gerald, you're missing the best. I honestly, real talk, this has been my favorite last 10 or 15 minutes of our show ever, because we're talking about like generational basketball. And now I need to ask you this question.
Okay.
Could Dennis Rodman play in today's NBA?
Could Dennis Rodman play into today's NBA? Probably, yeah.
Would he be a starter?
I think so, just because of the defense, but I think it'd be a lot harder for him to have the impact that he did back then, just because he's kind of a liability on the offensive end. But I do think with the rebounding, and he's kind of like, to a lesser extent or to a greater extent, like a Draymond, a guy who can't really shoot, but he would definitely have to adjust his
can't pass
abilities.
like Draymond though.
Yes, he can't pass or ball handle like Draymond, so he would have to adjust. But I do think because of the defense and the ability to guard multiple spots, he would find somewhere in the NBA.
And again, like some guys, individual skill is just so off the charts. It's generational. His rebounding was generational. Like that one skill would have kept him in the league for quite a while.
Let's say this. Gerald impresses me. Wasn't here for the argument and still found a way to thread the needle where it was like he was agreeing with both of us. You were impressive, my friend.
I try. I got to be objective.
All right, Gerald, let's not bury the lead. The Suns won tonight. We are feeling good. Back-to-back wins for this Suns team. What did you see out there that really stood out to you?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing, obviously, was Josh Okogie's performance, going out there and having, I think he had 23 points. He had 4 blocks, got to the free throw line 14 times. He just showed zero fear despite the fact that he broke his nose a couple of games ago and was out there playing with the mask. You know, Monty Williams described that tip-in that he had above the rim, which was incredible, as a Superman play. I asked Josh about it, and he said with the mask, he felt it was more of a Black Panther play, but he'll take it either way. So, I mean, this guy's aggression is just insane. He is a legitimate jump shot away from being, you know, a $15 to $20 million a year player. So it's really impressive the Suns have been able to get him on a minimum contract and see what he's been able to do, honestly, on both ends of the floor. I know we joke about his three-point shooting, but he did hit that clutch three late in the game too. So just a really fantastic night for him.
What I liked about him is, like, first he was like this, and then he was like this, and then he was like this. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was great. You get that?
Analysis.
Did you get that?
I recognize. I just don't know.
It's Dennis Rodman, baby. Let's go.
Yeah.
Hey, overall, the bench had such a great performance tonight. You know, obviously, Jock Landale having a double-double as well. But really, the other conversation tonight was Saben Lee. It looks like Saban's starting to get more of a stronghold on that kind of bench guard position. Are you worried at all about Dwayne Washington and where he might be forced down the road, maybe possibly off this team at some point since he's on a two-way?
A little bit. I think they value what Saban brings in terms of his ball handling, in terms of just being a little bit more solid in terms of handling the rock, because I think Dwayne had a turnover or two in that third or fourth quarter when the Pacers kind of started making a run. And he tried playing the two of them together, to his credit, having Saban take on the ball handling duties, let Dwayne play in his better position off the ball a little bit. But yeah, it is somewhat of a concern, I think, for him just to see Lee come in and grab those minutes so quickly. But he's doing well for this team. He's defending well. He's shooting well. Defenses are going to keep leaving him open because of that shot release that he has, but it's been falling a lot so far, and he's putting a lot of pressure on the rim. So definitely something to keep an eye on because they really like him. They brought him back for the second 10-day. And Monty was saying they hope that he's able to find a way to stick around beyond that.
Well, find a way to stick around. That could mean a couple things.
What was Monty's overall kind of view on tonight's game, especially with the back-to-back coming up tomorrow with Memphis in town?
Yeah, I mean, obviously tonight was a really great team win. You look across the stat sheet, and there's just really measured contributions from everybody. Even Ish Wainwright, who only shot 2 for 7, he had a couple of really big plays down the stretch. He had that corner three. He had that nice pocket pass to Jock Landale for the finish there late, a couple of steals. So everybody played really well. So Monty was happy about that. We asked him about the 50-50 balls and the hustle plays. His 2 words were Josh Okogie. So we know that he played well. Saban Lee coming in off the bench and giving them a little bit of poise in that ball handling spot. Damian Lee, I think he quietly had, 16 points or something like that. Landale double off the bench. So he did praise the centers for being able to hold it down tonight, obviously missing DA. So these are the type of team wins that you really love to see. Obviously the Pacers without Tyrese Halliburton aren't the same team, but this is their first back-to-back win since December 19th. This team needs to find a way to string some wins together until they get all their horses back, and this was a good one.
From what you could read from Monty, are they expecting to have potentially DA and Cam Johnson back tomorrow to help out since they had to play a lot of guys tonight to get the win?
I'm thinking Cam Johnson will be back. I think they were looking ahead to this back-to-back and saying, okay, we're not going to play in both games just because he's just coming back. We shouldn't be throwing him in back-to-back. So which one would it make more sense for him to sit out? I think it was this one so that they could have him on the second night of a back-to-back when they need reinforcements against a better Grizzlies team. Cam was saying in the locker room before the game that the plan is for him to play tomorrow. So hopefully that is the case and we get him back. I'm not sure about DA. They were saying that he wanted to try and go tonight, but they could just tell he was in bad shape as far as how he was feeling. So we might just need to take that one day by day and find out what they have for us tomorrow.
So Mikal Bridges, this is now 4 straight games. He's had 20 or more points for the first time in his career. Obviously, there was a little lull there a couple weeks back with Mikal, but it seems like he's really feeling better and just kind of in a better headspace right now. What have you seen, or what has Monty seen from Mikal in terms of just his growth lately?
Yeah, I actually asked Monty if there's anything in particular that's changed or kind of clicked for him over this last stretch, because over the last few weeks, he's been really turning it around compared to that about month-long stretch where he was really struggling. And he was saying there's nothing that really stands out to him, but he just knows how hard he works, and he thinks that it's just kind of coming together as far as managing the workload of defending and playmaking and ball handling and doing all the different stuff that he's doing. And he was saying it feels like he's just kind of getting back to the efficiency that we've seen from him in the past. He's getting better at making reads. He's getting better about getting to his spots in the mid-range and actually making those shots. And we asked Mikal about it, and he was saying the same thing, just trying to stay aggressive, just concentrating on the work and knowing that eventually the numbers are going to go back in his favor because he does put in that time and that effort to work on a lot of these things. And Monty said that he and Mikal had a conversation telling him, when these guys come back, I don't want you to defer. I want you to still be aggressive and looking for your shot and getting to these spots like you are now. So again, this was what we've been talking about. It's definitely a trial by fire for him, for DA, for a lot of these guys that are bumped up the pecking order a little bit. But hopefully once these guys start coming back, they'll be able to take a lot of these things that they've been learning and improving and make this team even better.
Last thing I have, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I just have a quick question around Book.
Yeah.
So like,
That was exactly what I was going to say.
if I recall correctly, the reevaluation was this upcoming week, right?
Yes, it should be. I think it was the 25th would be 4 weeks to the day.
Okay. So have you heard anything yet, or are we just kind of waiting till the 25th to see if any news is shared?
Yeah, we haven't heard anything yet. I would say on the 25th, we will definitely be asking some questions, and we should be asking some questions about campaign coming up here too. We know how the Suns have been about injuries all season long, and with Chris Paul, even before the game, Monty was hesitant to answer anything until I kind of followed up, and he was saying with Chris, it's just a matter of checking boxes, yes, but also making sure he's at a level where he's comfortable and we're comfortable with him being out there because of the high level of intensity that we try to play at every night. So apparently he's not there yet. We'll see what he is on the injury report tomorrow morning. But yeah, we're definitely going to follow up about Book this week because we're getting close to that 4-week mark.
I feel like we're in the Suns version of Spaceballs, where we always ask you, hey, have we heard anything about so-and-so? Man, we ain't found shit.
That is exactly what it feels like sometimes, and it can be a little bit frustrating because Chris Paul has been day-to-day for about 2 weeks now.
Chris Paul's been day-to-day for half the season at this point.
He was day-to-day at game fucking 3 of the second round last year.
Let's be fair. Once you get into your mid-30s, everybody's day-to-day, all right? Everybody.
Oh,
Gerald,
man.
it was 90s night out there. They had the 92-93 team there, honored them at halftime. What was that like?
Did you know any of those guys, by the way? Were you born by then or no?
I was born. I was 2 years old at the time, watching Michael Jordan highlights as an infant. But yeah, no, it was really cool. It was very cool to see these guys come out and be excited to kind of be introduced like a starting lineup intro, like back in the day. The building got super loud for Kevin Johnson, and then for Dan Marley and Charles Barkley. So that was really cool to see Chuck greeted that way, and you could just tell behind the scenes in the tunnel area when they were all conversing with each other. It had been a while since they'd seen each other, but really neat to have them all gathered in the same building again.
Oh, I'm sure we're going to see more of it here in the next couple weeks on Bally's. Don't worry. They'll milk the shit out of that thing.
Gerald, thank you so much. We appreciate you joining us and sharing all the insight and knowledge you collected this evening. We'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely. See you guys tomorrow.
All right, gentlemen, in honor of 90s night, we did put together a fun little game.
Let's
and by
go.
we, I mean I stole Saul's chat versus the world.
Let's go.
Tonight it is Espo and Saul against the chat. And it is all 90s trivia.
Oh, you're
Some of these I feel like
Chat.
might be really easy, and some of them I feel like might be really hard. I'm not entirely sure, but we're going to give it a shot and see how this kind of works out. So basically, you two versus the chat. I'll ask you a question. If you get it right, you get a point. I'll ask the chat a question. If they get it right, they get a point.
Okay.
If you take longer than X amount of seconds, whatever I decide, the chat can steal or you can steal.
Sure.
Okay? All right. Question number 1 for Espo and Saul. When did the Google search engine launch?
1997.
Saul,
I will go with Espo.
are you going to go with that? Incorrect. Chat, you can steal.
They're going to Google it.
You can't Google.
Man.
I think I'm probably off by a year.
You are off by just a smidge. So chat, you can steal. The question is, when did the Google search engine launch? What
He got
year
Keith Van
was
Horn.
it?
Yes, it launched Keith Van Horn.
Hey Dot said 1998. Correct. Hey Dot got that one
I
for
apologize.
the chat.
I'm off by a year.
So the chat gets 1. World 0. All right, chat. Your question is, what was the top selling video game console of the 1990s?
Oh, that was easy.
Well, that's why I said some
I
of these are
don't know.
easy and
Is
some
it,
of them
though?
are hard. I don't know if that was easy. I would have guessed it's something else, to be honest with you.
I am
So chat, what are you thinking? Again, you guys can steal in just a few seconds.
What if Saul and I
get
don't
something
agree?
back.
Well, I let
That's
you
a
have the
great
last
question.
one.
I'll go with you, but
Okay, what was the top selling video game console of the 1990s? Hurry, chat. Y'all got to answer. If we don't get an answer soon.
it was ColecoVision. No.
All right, so we've gotten 7 answers and they are all wrong. There's one in there,
Can I
but
steal?
you can steal. Because...
Sega!
No!
No,
What?
jackass.
Okay,
No.
chat stole it
People
back.
said it.
Kyle T, it was the PlayStation.
Oh.
I gave them 6 answers, and they all picked Nintendos.
Once the Nintendos popped up, and she said it was wrong, and that PlayStation was my second one.
How can PlayStation... It sold more in what? It came out in 96?
Yeah.
It sold more than...
It went crazy.
The other...
It had the disc. It was the first one with the disc. And the super high-def graphics.
Did you know it was actually supposed to be the Nintendo, the predecessor to the Nintendo, Super Nintendo? That it was supposed to be the Nintendo PlayStation, and Nintendo decided they didn't want to go with CD-ROMs, so they Sony said, "Well, we made it for you, so we're just going to sell it. We have the rights to it."
Wow.
So,
I feel like I might be asking you guys some easier ones, or the chat harder. Or yeah, yours are easier and the chat's harder. So we'll swap them.
Good on you, boys.
Okay, so your guys' next question, Espo Sol. In the 90s, which wide leg jeans became a fashion staple for tweens and teens? What are the name of the jeans? You don't have to whisper
we have to agree,
That's
right?
okay. You can talk about it. I'll let you.
I'm thinking the bell bottoms made a comeback
they're
in the 90s.
They're a wide leg, but are you talking about a brand, or are we looking for...
It's a brand, I think.
It's a brand, right?
I'm pretty sure it's a brand.
No, it's...
Make a guess. Make a guess, or the chat's going to steal it.
Guess jeans.
Guess jeans?
Yeah.
No. Chat, you can steal it. Already, they already got it. Isaiah. Or no, the Matt. Box Ghost. Jinko. Jinko, right? That's how you say it? You guys don't remember those?
No.
Those came back really popular. I feel like they're even popular now. They kind of had a resurgence.
Dolly jeans are.
Okay, so no, that's because I put
basketball
the thing.
shorts all
So
time,
the next chat question is: a sheep was cloned for the first time in the 1990s. What was its name? And
they're right.
Let's see.
They've got it right.
The chat has it correct.
It's Dolly.
The answer is Dolly.
You know why it was named Dolly?
Why was it named Dolly?
Because they took cells from the breast of the sheep that they cloned, and they named it Dolly after Dolly Parton. And that is a true fact.
Okay. All right.
I don't know any of these.
Chat is killing it right now. They're 3.
They've got 3 points. Side.
I don't think they're cheating. You guys
they were answering it before you even asked it.
I put it in the chat because I told you because I was making it easier on all of us.
Gotcha.
So if you guys are cheating, you have to tell us. That's the rules. Okay. Saul, Espo, this one's for you. What was the federal minimum wage for most of the 90s?
I'll trust you.
Are you sure?
$4.25.
Yes, Espo's correct. $4.25. The world is officially on the board. Congratulations, guys.
$4.25.
Can you imagine?
I was making $3.85 at Albertsons. What the fuck?
I was making $4.25 at Hallmark when I started working.
Hallmark.
That's just brutal.
I was Baskin Robbins.
Okay. Chat, your question is, which 90s girl group was second best-selling after Spice Girls? So, which 90s girl group was second best-selling after the Spice Girls? We'll give you guys just a few minutes to think this one through. I know this one was tough for me, too, because I was like, once I saw the answer, I was like, okay, I kind of get it. But also, I don't know that I would have thought about that at all, to be completely honest with you. There we go. Maria got it. TLC.
Oh, yeah.
Don't
TLC.
go chasing waterfall.
Because like now that you hear it, it makes sense, right?
Yeah.
But when you think about it, it wasn't.
Think about how big they were. And
It wouldn't have
Left
popped
Eye
off.
burned down Andre Risen's house.
she
Like
did. She
that
torched
whole
that
thing was
motherfucker to
huge.
the
Yeah.
ground.
There were some
RIP,
good. There
by the
were
way.
some other thoughts though.
Yeah.
Destiny Child was one that was in here. The Go-Go's were in here as
Destiny's
answers.
Child was
so-
early 2000s, though, I thought.
I have
And the
no idea.
Go-Go's were 80s. So
Well, those were just answers.
I was actually going to say
don't
Wilson
know.
Phillips.
Okay, you guys are up. Saul Espo, when did Major League Soccer kick off in the U.S.? What year did Major League Soccer kick off in the U.S.?
96.
Yes, good
Let's
job.
go.
now
It
we're
was
rolling.
right after the World Cup in 94.
Yep.
All right, World has 2 points. It is chat 2, chat 4, World 2. So maybe you can steal this one from the chat. We'll see. Chat, your question is, genetic engineering introduced what color roses for the first time in the 90s? What color roses, genetic engineering, what did they introduce for the first time in the 90s? So far, I'll give you guys like 2 answers. So far, we got pink. We got white. Oh, Amelia got it. It's blue.
Well, you said you were going to give them 2 answers.
I said a few answers, didn't I?
You said 2.
I said I'll give you a few answers. So far, we have 2. I thought that's what I said.
You know what we should do? We should just rapid fire yell things out until we get it right.
You
when
should.
It's our chance, like the chat gets.
Listen, I wouldn't.
96, 97, 98, 99.
At least they can't talk to each other. Like, you guys get to talk to each other. That's why you're the world.
I don't know that that's helpful.
You're the world. Okay, listen. I'll give you this one. Here you go. This is a bonus. No, wait. I have 2 more questions. 2 more questions and then a bonus. Okay. Who's up? Who's question?
It's our
is
turn.
this? Your
It's
question?
ours.
Okay. Which video game was the first video game played in space during the 90s?
Go ahead, say it, Emma.
Am I allowed to participate?
Hell yeah, you are.
Yeah.
Tetris.
Yes.
Nice.
Nice.
Awesome.
Thank
Good
you,
Look
Emma.
at
job,
the
Emma.
Wiz kid over here. She's gotten like 3 of them right for us.
I mean, that's solid. So it's 5-3. Chat versus the world. The final question, before we do a little bonus thing here for the chat, is in 1998, the fruit-flavored sweets Opal Fruits changed their name to what? This one was hard. I had no
Emma's got it. Emma's got it. Emma's
no
got it.
clue what
How
it
does
is.
she was born
It
like
doesn't-
Dude, I don't know how Emma
She must
knows
have taken
any
a
of
course
this.
on 90s history when she was in school.
I honestly have no idea how Emma knows all of this. But sorry, Emma, PHX Scotty got it. It's Starburst. How did you know that?
Hold on.
What?
Really?
Yeah.
In 98?
That's what I said.
No, there's no way.
Well,
I had
listen.
Starburst like early 90s.
Listen, this is just what the internet told me.
Wait, I
and you
feel-
know they can't put anything that's not true on the internet.
I
so.
feel like that might be one of those things like the Kazam, Shazam, Sinbad.
No, because Emma said she
thing.
knew it. Did you think
No,
it was
no, no.
Starburst?
I'm saying
I thought it
that-
was Starburst. Yeah.
I'm saying that us thinking we had them in the early 90s is one of those
Oh,
false
I see, I
memories.
see.
Are you telling me I did not have fruit stripe gum?
Another like part.
The zebra one?
Yes.
For-
Okay, zebra gum though
Go,
for the
go.
first 15 seconds was the
Yeah.
greatest flavor in the
It's an explosion.
entire
and then,
world.
then you're like, why am I chewing on this flavorless piece of whatever
Cardboard.
this is in
Oh,
my
yeah,
mouth?
yeah. You spit it out after 30
but
seconds,
that
but
15
it's so good.
seconds was elite.
You remember the gum and the baseball cards too?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
God.
The worst thing ever, but I still hate it.
And Big League
Like a
Chew.
fucking
Oh.
champ.
And the chug gum, they came in like a little
Yeah.
mini chug thing. Did you guys ever have that? I don't know. I had it in Sierra Vista. It came in like it was literally
It
like this
wasn't a
big, and it was
thing.
like a chug, like a I don't know what it's
Was it
Looked
called.
like a
home-
gat.
was it
like a-
homemade?
It's kind of like a gallon looking thing, but it didn't look like a
Oh,
gallon of
yeah.
milk.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
it was
yeah.
called like chug gum or something.
It looked
I
like a
thought.
barrel.
No, it had like a
Oh.
little handle. I don't know, but it was bomb.
Thank you, Plato. Plato rocks. It's the Mandela effect. Is what I was.
There you
referring
go.
to. The
All
shared
right,
false
here's the deal.
memories.
I will give you guys, if you can get this right, we'll call it a tie.
Okay.
Because I'm
All
pretty
right.
sure the
Let's
chat
do it.
has beat us all every single
Yes,
time.
every single
Okay.
time.
The chat constantly wins. So if you get this right, this will be a tie.
Okay.
Who came up with the name In Sync? Who came up with the name In Sync?
Fucking Justin Timberlake's mama.
Yeah!
Mommy!
Look at Emma! Holy shit.
Mommy Timberlake.
Okay, so I may be born in 2001, but
I didn't even know that
90s
one.
stuff, for some reason, I just know a lot of. I did take a 90s history class
Maybe that's
in
what
college
it is then.
last year, and then I'm also
Wow.
taking a 90s rap and hip hop class right now.
I'm literally
Who'da
listening
thought
to a
Emma would
book
be the
on tape
ringer?
called The 90s right now, and I didn't know that shit.
Oh,
So
man.
Who would have thought
work,
Emma would
Emma.
be the ringer
Honestly,
in the 90s?
One of my
trivia.
favorite songs of all time is sung by, and don't judge me, because you're going to judge me. I know you're going to judge me. But my
Billy Ray
homie,
Cyrus?
Lil Dicky,
Oh.
he sings a song called In the 90s. And it's the best song ever because he just goes so nostalgic with everything. That's where I got that's where I remember all my 90s stuff. Like, oh shit, yeah, I forgot about that. Pretty cool.
I mean, isn't that a show? Lil Dicky?
No.
Yeah.
Well, it's not called Lil Dicky, but yeah.
Yeah,
has
he
a
has
show.
a
But
show,
it's
yeah.
the
He has
same
a show.
guy, right?
Yeah,
And he
yeah,
has a
yeah.
show?
Mhm.
I find that show hilarious.
I
It's
love
awesome.
that show so much.
It's fantastic. Yeah. I'm just Emma, even the chat is like, how on earth would you know all of this information? So fantastic job, Emma. And we officially have a tie. The world and the chat are tied finally.
It's Boys Meet World, right? Yeah. A little 90s joke there.
Oh my goodness.
Look at that. Brittany Price of the chat says, Lynn Harless is his mom. Do I get bonus points?
Yes, Brittany, you get bonus points.
We now know Justin Timberlake's mother's name. All right.
I had no clue. That's insane to me. Well, that was our 90s trivia. I hope we all learned something today that we will be able to use at some point in time in our lives. I don't know. Can't promise, but it could help you out if you ever go to a trivia night and they ask you 90s stuff. So we'll see. One last thing that we want to share with you guys, our friends over at Underdog Fantasy, they do daily fantasy sports differently. And if you have not checked them out, now is a great time to do that. So you listen, here's how like the daily fantasy sports kind of work, right? You draft your team against 5 of your friends. If you don't have 5 friends, call Espo and Saul and Shane and Sean and all the people here. We'll get you 5 friends. And the highest scoring squads for that night could win cold, hard cash.
Did you just whore us out to be other people's friends?
100%.
You can also play with just 3 friends or 4. You don't have to have 6 or 5.
Oh, I thought it was 5.
No.
Well, that's even better. Even better. Yeah. And like you draft like 6 NBA players and it's positionless. So that's kind of fun. There's no position limits on it. So it's literally just who you think is going to get you the highest score. And bam, that's it. You can win cold, hard cash. It's so simple and it's so fantastic. And we have a show here, our fantasy show, that helps kind of walk you through all the things. And it's just fun conversation around fantasy sports. So that is always an option for you guys too. But it's really easy to get started. Just go to underdogfantasy.com or download the app. Make sure you sign up with the promo code PHNX though, because when you use that promo code, Underdog will match your first deposit up to $100. So take advantage of a free $100.
Golden Boy says, at one point the Suns had a lineup, and we saw this stat on Twitter, by the way. I think it was the 4-point play that had put it out there that said Saban Lee, Damian Washington, Okogie, Wainwright, and Landale were all on the floor, and which makes a combined $4.76 million, which is also less than who?
Shamet makes.
It's less than half of what
Landry Shamet's.
Also, my
yearly total.
Also, my wife is in the chat trolling us, asking what was the best basketball team of the 90s. It was the Houston Rockets. I refuse to say the other team that she's trying to get everybody.
Yeah, I mean, okay. So, what's her affiliation with Chicago?
She's from there.
Up there. She was born there.
But didn't she meet you in high school?
Yeah, she came out here when she was 11.
Yeah, but she grew up with an allegiance to Chicago if her parents are from there too.
She was 10 when the 93 Bulls went on their run, so it's like we are with that Suns team. So
it's the same with all the transplants here who grew like everyone's parents are like Cowboys fans, and all their kids are like, no, I want to root for the hometown team, and so now there's a rivalry. It's the same idea, right?
Let me just
except for Tracy, you're supposed to come over to your home state. That's how it works. The old folks stay with their home states, and then you adopt.
She doesn't look at this.
Well, she's now with the old folks.
That's true. I guess she is one of the old folks now.
That's what we are. We're the old
Because
folks.
Ro's going to be a Suns fan.
You can say that to her.
Hopefully.
I'm not saying that. So.
I think I just did. She's in the chat.
She said I was 11. Thank you.
Tracy, you're not old.
You're not.
You're just.
Yeah. I'm not. She's young and
I didn't have anything clever to say, so I had to stop. Abort! Abort!
Oi, oi.
Oh my gosh. Thank you all for tuning in. We appreciate you as always. Hopefully you guys had fun with our chat versus the world trivia. It's a blast over here. If you don't like it, tell us and we won't play it anymore. But if you do like it, also tell us and we'll play it more. I don't know. We'll see. But we do have a pregame and a postgame show planned for you guys tomorrow because the Suns are back at it, back-to-back games. So we will see you then. Plan to come hang out with us. Until then, you can follow me on Twitter at LindsaySmithAZ. You can follow Saul at Saul_Bookman. You can follow Gerald at Gerald Bourget. And of course, you can follow Espo at Espo. Espo, take us home.
11 to John Paxson and Michael Jordan.
You weren't going to say bye, bye, bye. I thought you were going to go with the bye, bye, bye.
Bye, bye, bye. Ahoy, hoy.
Never gonna let go. PHNX though, Lindsay, Gerald, Espo. Saw past the ball, we here to turn up the tempo. Got to understand me, I'll always rep the family. Rally in the valley like Dan G, no plan B. Always on the job, my team move like the mob. Turn the beat on, I throw it down like DA.